Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Abby, and today I'm going to be talking about my debt payoff journey since, when did I start this? August 2018. So I hope everybody had a happy new year. I was in bed with the UTI, not really in bed, but just sitting around moping because I had UTI. I'm glad I didn't make any plans because that would have been very terrible. So basically what I'm going to be talking about, I forgot to put my other glasses on, BRB. Okay, I got new glasses and I'm in a spinny chair in the middle of the floor, so I'm kind of all over the place. But I got new glasses and they're supposed to be anti-glare, but they're not really, so they just, all you would see is just a bright ring. So these showed a little bit, but not as bad as the other ones. So these are my old glasses, so I'm going to be struggling to read my notes, but that's alright. So this all started around the middle of 2018. I had been looking at getting a van, fixing it up, taking a trip around the US. That did not pan out the way that I had planned it to, because I quickly realized that that was not very safe for me to do. So maybe if I had a partner with me, you know who you are, I'm talking to you, I got you. But maybe I could do that in the future, but just right now it's not really something that I could feasibly do. I mean, I could like buy the van, fix it up, but I just, like, with safety issues and people getting kidnapped left and right, I'm not about that. So it's unfortunate because we should be able to do whatever we want, but can't. So anyways, I started this in August 2018 with around $11,500 in debt. I had been paying off like big chunks at a time, so it was like a little bit more than that. So why I was in so much debt in the first place was because I wasn't responsible for my credit cards, number one. And number two, if you haven't been following me for a long time, basically I moved out of state like 8 hours drive away, and with my then boyfriend, became my fiance, long story. Not anymore though. And he didn't have a job, and I was trying to pay all the bills myself, wasn't working, and I had to put everything on my credit card, pay off the lease, because I had to break the lease early and you can't get out of that, you have to pay it. In some circumstances you can, but I couldn't. The lease was airtight, nothing I could do. And so I paid that off with my credit card, and I built my small business off of the credit card, so that I had even more. And here we are in debt, and also part of that was a student loan, which was, I'm very, very, very thankful that I did not have to take out more student loans than I did, because I graduated in winter 2014. I borrowed $6,000 and I'm not even halfway done. I can't imagine if I had to pay like 10 times that much. So I started in 2018 with $15,000 in debt, then I made it to under $10,000 in December 2018. So at the time I had two credit cards. So I had one that had a little bit of a lower minimum on it, and then I opened a second one, because what I tried to get a personal loan to pay off the credit card, or pay off the apartment lease, so the interest will be lower. But they got me approved for a credit card that I was able to have a higher what's it called? Credit limit. I used to be an underwriter, so know this stuff, but my brain's not working. So I got approved for a credit card with a higher limit so that I could pay that off, and I wouldn't be like totally underwater, because it damages your credit score the closer you are to your maximum, So I got the second credit card. I paid off the first credit card in April 2019. So just April of this year. Or not this year, but it's January 2nd as I'm filming this, so I keep thinking that it's 2019, but it's not. And then I had the second credit card, and it was about to start accruing interest, because once you open a new card, you haven't, like, most of the time you have 0% interest for a certain number of months, and then if you owe anything when that certain number of months is over, they slap you with all the back interest that you owe. So I was trying to avoid that at all costs, and I managed to do that by the skin of my teeth. So I had to open a third credit card, actually with a different bank, which I think is a smart idea, instead of having like everything in one bank, So I transferred all of what I could to that third credit card, which also had a 0%, and I saved hundreds, if not $1,000 on interest. So that would have been a lot worse. Probably still would have been paying that off. And then I wasn't able to transfer all of the money, but I just had to, I thought it was in my best interest to almost deplete my savings and pay off that second credit card balance. So at this point, after I did that, I only had a balance on my third credit card, and this was around in May. So between April and May was a difficult time. And then just in December, like not even a couple weeks ago, I paid off the rest of that credit card. So I have no credit card debt now whatsoever. And now I still have about $3,000 to go on my student loan. And also what's been helping me with my student loan is my bank through Fifth Third, and they have a program called Momentum, where it's like a separate app from the banking app, but it rounds up your purchases on your debit card and then just kind of collects that and puts it, like once you hit, I think $5, it'll make a payment on your student loan. I think it only does student loans at this point. I'm not sure if it does anything else, but like once I get the student loan paid off, I wish that it would do that to put to savings, because like I don't really miss that little bit. It's like, I mean, at most it's like $1 a day, which is not much at all, but it adds up because I think, let me check the app and see how much that I've paid so far. So it says on here, I don't know if you're gonna be able to see that, there's no personal information or anything with the ring light, it's not helping, but that's how much I have rounded up since I started doing this. I'm doing it for about 2 years, I want to say, so it's not, but it's still a big chunk, $289.40. That's a lot of money that it's basically what it's doing is paying the interest that I've accrued. So so my payments are going toward the principal and not to the interest. So that's helping just a little bit. I imagine that would be a lot more beneficial if you owed a lot more money and the interest was a lot higher. So that's kind of where I am with the debt payoff. So I only have a little bit under $3,000 to pay my student loan, and that is all the debt that I have. Thank the Lord, like literally I have prayed and prayed like to get out of this, because it's like I don't have a house payment or anything right now. I'm not paying hardly any bills, so I need to take advantage of that while I can and just get out of debt, so that way when I do start my own like living on my own and stuff, I won't have to worry about any of that. I actually had I talked about buying a house like last year. I can't imagine having this much debt and then trying to buy a house on top of it. It would have been bad. So basically what I've learned so far is that there's a couple things. Number one, that the debt snowball method worked. So what I did was first I put money into savings, because I think I have about 700-ish in emergency savings, and Dave Ramsey, who invented like the debt snowball thing, said that you should have about 1,000, but since my bills are that low, I stopped at about 700, so I am continually adding to that. But just in case, like if you're paying all of your expendable income toward paying off debt, what if an emergency comes up, you're gonna have to use your credit card. So the best thing to do is to have an emergency fund, that way you don't have to do that. And then I started with the account that had the lowest balance, which I've seen some people, they'll start with the one that has the highest interest if they're about comparable balances, but I just started with one that was the lowest balance. That way I could take the money that I was paying toward that and put it to something else, which is the whole point of the debt snowball thing. And then I learned that I needed to make debt paying a priority over savings, which I know kind of sounds silly, but if you're putting a bunch of money into savings but yet you're still in debt, you're not really that much better off, because you're still, you still owe that money. So it's better to just pay down your debt as fast as you can and then start saving. Because like at that one point I had to use my savings account to pay down a bunch of debt, that way I didn't have to pay all the interest. And then I did learn a lot about budgeting, so you do need to pay yourself first. Make sure that you have money in your account to pay the bills for food and gas, things you need, and then pay your bill, like your debt payments first, before you try to start spending a bunch of money on other stuff you don't need. And then also I learned to keep because I used to just, so my budgeting app, you can allocate everything into the categories, and I would just kind of like, if I allocated something to like a savings line in the budget or whatever, I would keep that money in my checking account. But I have learned to put that money into my actual savings account, which it's really easy to transfer through my bank app. But if you do that instead of leaving it sitting in your checking account, see, what I would do is I would be like, oh, well, I have the money in my account, I'll just like fix it next paycheck or whatever, and but if you don't have the money in your account to play with like that, then you're less likely to overspend on something that you shouldn't. So like, if I wanted to buy new shoes or whatever, like say it's $100, I didn't have $100 budgeted for shoes, so I would just spend it and then like temporarily take the money out of my savings column and put that in my spending column. Don't do that. Make sure that you have budgeted for the thing that you need, that you're going to buy. Because then it would roll over to the next month, and then I would just have the same cycle of having to take out of other budget categories and put it into like spending or whatever. So if you don't have the money to mess around with, then you're less likely to spend. So now I'm really careful because my checking account balance is significantly lower because of all the money that I have saved is in my actual savings account. So I'm trying to be more careful and more conscious of it also. And then the next thing is to be flexible. So my plans have changed at least 5 or 6 times since I started this journey. But that's totally fine. You need to evolve as you pay stuff down, you'll realize that your needs are evolving and you need to kind of correct that. Or like if you take on a new bill or something, and you need to make sure that you're budgeting appropriately for what's going on instead of just budgeting for something that you don't really need anymore or whatever. And then the last thing that I learned is to keep a visual reminder. So I was keeping everything in a little notebook, and I wouldn't look at it until the every other Friday when I paid my bills. So I started keeping a little thing on the wall. I actually post pictures of it on Instagram every now and then, but I would just put a little sticker. I made a box, like every box counts for $100, and I'd put a little sticker in each box when I paid that off, just as a reminder to keep that in mind and pay stuff off. And then especially it's right next to my computer, so if I'm thinking about buying something, I'm like, oh, that $100 could be put towards my goals. So my plans going forward, my number one priority is paying off that student loan and getting totally out of debt, which shouldn't take very long at all, hopefully. I went a little overboard with the Christmas stuff this year, so I wasn't able to put as much money toward that last month as I wanted to, but that's okay. I don't know, maybe I should have, but it'll work out and I'll be able to pay that off pretty quick. Hopefully within less than 2 months. I should be able to pay that off in less than 2 months, I think. And then I want to save about $5,000 towards expenses. So what I'm doing is I am planning on working for myself full-time around May or June. So that's why I'm on a crunch now to save up as much as I can, not spend any more money than I absolutely have to, and save that money for expenses. That way I can get myself, because right now I'm in a pickle where I am working full-time 40 plus hours a week at my day job, which doesn't have a set schedule, so that makes it even harder. So like I'll be like early morning one day and late night next day, like it's just all over the place. So, which is kind of predictable, but also it's hard when it's not the same time every day. So I don't have time to work on my small business like I need to, but also I need to make the money. So once I save up enough money, $5,000 is more than enough for a few months, especially that I'm not going to have any debt payments, and I should be able to use that to pay like my phone bill and car insurance for a few months. And then I'll be able to have basically all of my time to devote to my business and getting that growing. And then of course a little more than that for emergencies. So I want to build up my emergency fund a little bit more. And then we're going on a couple vacations, which is also sounds kind of shady, but it's also why I picked it around June, because I don't have to worry about taking vacation time and all that. And then something also I'm going to try for the next few months is I'm going to try, because I used to, which I am currently doing this, I will write down every pay date and then I look at when my bills are due. So like if I get paid on the 15th and I know that there's a bill due on the 18th, I'll pay it that day. But if I get paid on the 20th, which it's a weird date, but like if I get paid on the 20th and the bill's due on the 18th, and then I know I have to pay it with the bill prior, with the paycheck prior, so I'll write everything down and make sure that I allocate the money on each day to the right bill. And so now I'm going to try to focus on using like the first paycheck of every month and paying all of the bills, like budgeting anyways, even if I'm not paying it right then. And then I will use the second or third. Sometimes there's 3 paychecks in a month, so I'll use the second and third paychecks just for like savings, or like paying off debt and savings. So I don't know if that's a weird idea or if I should just stick with what I've been doing. I don't know. So those are my plans for now, and I'll be doing videos fairly. I don't know if I'll be doing one every single month. Maybe I should, because I feel like I'm going to make fast progress, so I want to keep you updated, I suppose. I'm still going to post the pictures of my little sheet, my tracker sheet on Instagram, so go follow me over there. It's at Askaland. And that's about it. Let me know if you have any questions or any video ideas that you have that you want to see me talk about. Leave it in the comments and give this video a thumbs up if you thought it was helpful, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.